Hello. So today we're going to talk about the data science case two, which is what moved the GPU market. And then specifically, we're going to talk about GPU demand and NVIDIA stock price. So from 2019 to 2022, graphics processing units or GPUs has transformed from being primarily gaming hardware into some of the most important components in modern computing. During this 4 year period, demand for GPUs surged due to several overlapping forces, including growth in gaming, the cryptocurrency mining boom, COVID 19 related supply chain disruptions, and the early adoption of artificial intelligence workloads. These shifts in demand directly um, these shift in demand directly influence the stock price of NVIDIA, the world's leading GPU manufacturer. So, in this presentation, I'll explain what was happening in the GPU market during this time period and how those changes help explain NVIDIA's stock price behavior. So, let's first delve into why GPU became so valuable. It is important to understand what they do. A GPU is a type of hardware designed to perform many calculations at the same time through parallel processing. Unlike CPUs, which are optimized for handling a small number of sequential tasks, GPUs excel at processing large amounts of data simultaneously. This makes GPUs especially useful for graphics and rendering, machine learning, and data science applications. As data science and artificial intelligence became more prominent, GPUs grew in importance for beyond their original role, like in gaming. And then we need to also need to distinguish the difference between CPU and GPU, which will help to explain why GPU demand increased so rapidly. CPUs are designed for general purpose computing tasks such as running operating system or handling logic based processes. GPUs, on the other hand, contain thousands of smaller cores that can execute the same operation across large datasets at once. For example, training a machine learning model on a GPU can be many times faster than training the same model on a CPU. This performance advantage made GPUs essential for emerging computational workloads, which in turn increased their market value. Um, at the beginning of 2019 to 2022 period, gaming was still the largest driver of the GPU demand. NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 20 series, released in 2018 and 2019, introduced new graphics capabilities such as ray tracing, which encouraged gamers to upgrade their hardware. At the same time, popular PC game releases increased interest in high performance GPUs. This created a steady and reliable source of revenue for NVIDIA and contributed to gradual growth in its stock price during 2019 and early 2020. And then starting in 2020, cryptocurrency mining became a major new driver of GPU demand. Cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum rely heavily on GPUs for mining, leading miners to purchase GPUs in large quantities. This sudden surge in demand caused widespread shortages in the consumer market, making GPUs difficult for gamers to obtain and driving prices sharply upward on resale markets. Investors viewed this mining boom as a sign of strong profitability for Nvidia, which led to rapid increases in the company's stock price. During this period, stock growth was driven largely by expectation of future earnings rather than immediate sales alone. At the same time, COVID-19 pandemic disrupt global supply chains and intensified GPU shortages. Semiconductor factories experienced shutdowns and production slowdowns, while global shipping delays further reduced supply. Meanwhile, demand for electronics increased as people shift to remote work, online learning, and home and entertainment. This imbalance between supply and demand kept GPU prices high and contributed to volatility in NVIDIA's stock price. Despite this uncertainty, the scarcity of GPUs reinforced their perceived value in the market. And then By 2021 and 2022, GPUs were increasingly being adopted in data centers for artificial intelligence and machine learning workloads. Although this demand was smaller than gaming or cryptocurrency mining at that time, it represented a significant long term shift. Data centers began using GPUs to train machine learning models and support cloud based AI services. Investors started to see NVIDIA not just as a gaming company, but as a foundational technology company critical to the future of computing and data science. NVIDIA's stock price reflected these changing market dynamics throughout the period of 2019 to 2022. From 2019 to 2021, strong gaming sales, cryptocurrency mining demand, and supply shortages drove steady growth and occasional spikes in the stock price. In 2022, however, um, the decline in cryptocurrency markets and continued supply chain uncertainty caused increased volatility. Nevertheless, long-term confidence remained strong due to NVIDIA's growing role in AI and data science infrastructure, supported by strategic leadership under CEO Jensen Huang. So, to conclude and wrap up this presentation, the GPU market from 2019 to 2022 was shaped by multiple overlapping sources, including gaming growth, cryptocurrency mining, COVID 19 disruptions, and early AI adoption. These factors drove changes in GPU demand, which were reflected in NVIDIA's stock price movements. This case demonstrates how hardware choices play a critical role in data science and how market demand for computing power can reshape entire industries. By the end of 2022, the foundation had already been laid for the AI driven GPU boom that followed afterwards. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this presentation. And then here's the references for for the presentation.